Good morning, class 10. In continuation with the topic Civil Disobedience Movement, where in my previous session I explained you how different social groups participated in this movement. So today we will focus on the limits of civil disobedience movement. Children, you will be surprised to know that not all social groups participated in this civil disobedience movement. There were a number of the social groups who were not moved by the concept of Swaraj, and one such group was the nation's untouchables. Now for long the Congress, they ignored the Dalits. They ignored the Dalits means the untouchables because of the fear of offending the Sanatanis, that is the conservative high caste Hindus. But a time came when Mahatma Gandhi declared that Swaraj would not come for 100 of years if untouchability is not removed or eliminated from India. So to eliminate untouchability, he gave the name of Harijans to untouchables. And do you know what Harijan means? Harijan means the children of God. And to give them a due place in the society, Mahatma Gandhi organized a satyagraha. Satyagraha to secure them entry into temples, access to public wells, tanks, roads, schools, and to do all this, he himself lived in the colonies of Harijans, cleaned toilets to dignify their work, that is the work of sweepers, and persuaded the upper caste to change their hearts and give up the sin of untouchability. But do you know, there were a number of the Dalit leaders who were keen on a different political solutions to their problem, that is the problem of their community, and they began organizing themselves, demanding a reserved seats in educational institutions and a separate electorate that would allow to choose Dalit members for legislative councils. Now, they believed that their problem could only be solved, that is, their social disabilities or discrimination could only be solved if they come in the legislative council. And do you know that a number of Dalit participation in the civil disobedience movement was limited, especially let's say to a certain region they participated, like in Maharashtra or Nagpur. Otherwise most of the Dalit, they did not participate. Now children, their leader was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who organized these Dalits into a depressed classes, and he formed an depressed class association in 1930. And what happened? He clashed with Mahatma Gandhi at the second round table conference by demanding a separate electorates for Dalits. Now this was which was not in the favor of Swaraj. When the British government, they heard this, they were ready for this. They were ready for Ambedkar's demand. But Gandhiji, he didn't wanted this thing to happen. So to stop this, he began a fast unto death. He believed that separate electorates for Dalit would slow down the process of the integration of the society. And a time came when Dr. Ambedkar realized and ultimately accepted Gandhiji's position, and a Pune Pact was signed on September 1932, which under this pact it gave the depressed classes, these depressed classes which were later on known by the name of scheduled caste, they were given the reserved seats in provincial and central legislative council, but they were to be voted in by the general electorate. Now, this Dalit movement continued to be apprehensive of the Congress-led national movement. Now, these people, they got the reserved seats, still they were not in the favor of the Congress. On the other side, children, there were a number of the Muslim political organizations who were also against or were not responding to the civil disobedience movement. As after the decline of non-cooperation movement, a large section of Muslims, they felt alienated from the Congress, means they felt that they have been separated, they are different from the others. So from mid 1920, the Congress came to be more, let's say, visibly associated with the Hindu religious nationalist groups like Hindu Mahasabha. That means that after 1920 or mid 1920, Congress was depicted as more of the Hindu or a Hindu religious political party. Now this worsened the relationship between Hindus and Muslims, because somewhere the Muslim felt that Congress will not work for them. So Hindu-Muslim communal clashes and riots in various cities started, and every riot deepened the distance between Hindus and Muslims. Now the Congress and the Muslim League, they made efforts to renegotiate an alliance, and in 1927 it started feeling, or it started appearing, that such unity could be forged, means the unity could not be there. And the important difference was over the question of representation in the future assemblies. That means the leader of Muslim League Party, that was Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and let's say he was not willing to give up the demand for separate electorates. According to him, if Muslims were assured a reserved seats in the Central Assembly and representation in proportion to population in Muslim dominated provinces like Punjab and Bengal, that means the Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he wanted for the Muslim communities a separate electorate which should be there, and a reserved seat should be there in the Central Assembly, and a reserved area, let's say, in Bengal and Punjab. So negotiations were over the question of representation continued, but all hope of resolving the issues between Hindus and Muslims at all party conference in 1928 disappeared when M.R. Jayakar of the Hindu Mahasabha strongly opposed this compromise. So children, when this civil disobedience movement started, there was an atmosphere of suspicion, distrust among the communities. A large section of Muslims could not respond to call of this united struggle, as many Muslim leaders and intellectuals, they were concerned about the status of Muslims as a minority within India, and they feared that their culture and identity of minorities would be submerged, somewhere dominated under the Hindu majority. That means they felt that if India will get the freedom, so Muslims who are already in minority, so where their interests will lie, somewhere they will be dominated in a state of Hindu majority. Thank you.